Damn, time flies on you, man. We're live. I'm sitting there opening up some groups to share. Figured I'd do that beforehand, try to get a little head start and start a couple minutes late. Hope y'all forgive me for it. All right, you know the drill. Kick the tires and light the fires. That's right, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It's cold here. Hopefully today's going to be the last day cold for a while. Starting to get a warming trend for this next week. So, get a bit of snow and, of course, my friends to the north and Chris Palin and all our Canadian friends will be like, hell, whine about single digits. How about negative double digits? What's going on, Clint? Hopefully we can share some of those charts you sent me. All right, you know the drill. Let's see. Oh, Lord. Let me refresh this and get this show on the. All right, Clint's going to juggle and pull some rabbits out of his hats while we share the link and welcome everybody in. Hopefully everybody's having a good weekend. A lot of people are staying in because it's cold, man. I know I have been. We've been using Ann's car. Mine ain't been out of the driveway since it iced over last week. It's still got ice all over it. We just drive hers. It's cold down here in this basement too. Got a little work to done today. Got a lot more to do though. So I don't want to be dead here doing this. So I'll sit here and ramble on about something. Talk about the weather, I guess, until I can get these links shared. So I hope everybody brought some questions for us. Hope everybody saw the shit show last night. It wasn't too bad. It's a pretty good show. Let me get all these links here. Let's see how many they let me share tonight. Never know. Facebook, it varies. They were letting me share more than usual. Couple of weeks running, but looks like they're back to their old ways again. I thought I was getting special treatment or something. Should have known better. Should have known better. No. Oh man, I'm tired. Tired. Almost fell asleep. Just got to eat and talk to Clint. Watching TV and eating, about fell asleep. I ate right before this. I should eat a little bit earlier. Give it time to digest because I usually don't feel very good after I eat. I don't know what it is. I guess I took IBS. IBS. I bullshit. Oh, I never looked at that way. Irritable bowel syndrome. IBS. That's funny. But it's I also had chronic colitis and a few other little things. Looks like this page they showing the weather forecast for East Tennessee and the Carolinas getting some snow. Eastern Kentucky. At least to me, we got some. We're not going to get very much, but the Carolinas are going to get quite a bit, and looks like East Tennessee and the Carolinas and Virginia going to see the brunt of it. I figure it won't let me share too many more. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm getting right one or two more, and then I'll probably be at my limit. Somebody's, yeah, I knew it. Damn, as soon as I said that. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think one less than normal. That's what it is. What's going on, Curtis? Good to see you. Hey, Pat. Gonna recook that failed mash. That's a good thing to do. Let's distill out the added sugar. You don't need to distill out the added sugar. You can just cook it with the sugar in it, and steep it. Or you can, just start another batch and add that to it, right? And just add, more corn, and there's nothing wrong with the sugar being in there. But if you want to add more corn and water and kind of dilute it out and try to do some conversions, that sugar's not going to get in your way. But no, never give up. And you could just go ahead and ferment it, just ferment it, because it's, with the sugar in there, it'll ferment, and you'll get basically a thin mash, and just chalk it off to lessons learned. You don't want to necessarily try to force things. Just, I made liquor that way for many, many moons, so it's not ruined. I mean, you could just, once you check your gravity, and make sure that you don't have too high gravity, right? But once you do that, there's nothing wrong with sugar, corn, and water. That's fine. Cracked corn and sugar and water makes a good liquor. It'll be on the hot side, but for your first try, if that's the only mistake you make, you'll be in good shape, bro. So just let her go. Don't bother recooking it. You don't need to. Just you can try. I mean, it's not going to hurt trying. Just when you add sugar, it can scorch. The sugars in there can get kind of funny tasting too, and get hot. And hell, just ferment it and run it right. Get some fantastic color on your corn wheat liquor. Cool. Well, you got it aging in. What's up, JJ? Good to see you, brother. I'm glad to see you got your phone fixed. Now, if we can get this old computer of mine down there to you, you can get on there and be able to read a little easier. Of course, I don't know, probably easier for you to type too on a keyboard instead of a phone. I know I double strike, and I can't type on a phone keyboard hardly. Too small for my big fast fingers. Oh, yawning. Bad. Shoosh. I'm tired. You're not late, O'Shane. We're just getting started, brother. You doing good. I'm already behind, so there we go. Let's see if I get caught up here. Bread, pudding, corn. Man, I love some corn pudding. My grandmother used to make some good. Now Ann makes it. Man, I love corn pudding. Man, that's one of my favorite things in the world. Oh, and I love that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It turnout might be a little light. It's cold, but hell, they might not be out swarping around chasing tail. They might have to stay at home when it freezes in and just be forced to be listening to us. Yeah, we're all here because we're not all out there, right? Hey, that's fine. That's fine. It gets a little fiery, but also, did you leave the lid open for a little while on it? If you leave the lid off and put maybe just some. A lot of people use a paper towel. Some people go use a coffee filter. And coffee filter's pretty expensive. I wouldn't waste one for that. But just a paper towel or cheesecloth, just something to keep dust, lint, and critters out of it. But you want it to be able to breathe, and a lot of your more volatiles will kind of dissipate off, and not a bad thing to do. Yeah, you can kind of a lot of your lower boiling point stuff that it evaporates more quickly than ethanol, and leave it open for a day or two, and it'll evaporate off. Some of your alcohol will too, but you'll lose a lot of that. All that stuff that gets, they call it astringent, right? When we get that fiery, really alcoholic, taste, it's just a little on the hot side. They call it an astringent. A lot of times, immature wines will have an astringent taste to it when your wine kind of tastes too much like alcohol and not like the wine you're used to drinking. It's just because it's fresh, young, juvenile wine, and it hadn't really had time to mature and estivate yet. Doing good, brother. How about yourself? Actually, I'm feeling better after I ate than I usually do. I've been feeling a little better this past week than I have the last month. I don't know. December and most of January, I wasn't feeling good at all. But last 4 or 5 days, I've been feeling a lot better. Thank you. Been doing a lot better. Well, here we go. I swear to God, I just saw that. Yeah, you can air out your liquor. Sure can. And you can shake it and open it and let it kind of, some people go to the trouble. They'll speed up the process. They'll get one of those fish tank pumps, right? A little air pump goes in your fish tank. They'll just stick it. I'm not sure about the vinyl line. Make sure you use a silicone line. Please don't put vinyl in there because alcohol and acetone will break down vinyl. So don't put the vinyl line in there. Or, maybe even the line on your oxygen tanks, those I think are pretty inert. But that or a silicone line works good too. Or a line that's designed for alcohol, But yeah, they'll let it just sit and bubble, and it speeds the process up. So you'll have to let it sit out for a couple of days. You can do that for a day, and it'll keep it turning and rolling. And supposedly does it a lot quicker. I've never tried it, but it's sound. It's a sound idea. There's science behind that. Just mixing it up. So yeah, it definitely helps smooth it out for sure. It'll take some of those more volatiles out, and it's just less astringent. Tastes less like isopropyl alcohol, and actually, isopropyl and is one of the other alcohols that are in there even. So, yep, yep. Hey, I hope feeling better is contagious. Awesome, awesome. Sounds good. What's going on, Chris? We was just talking about you a minute ago. How cold is it up there, buddy? Negative still? Jeez. We're going to get down to about 8 tonight here. We got down to about 6 last night, 8 tonight. And then the rest of this week is supposed to warm up, supposed to be above freezing for a day or two for the highs. So that'll be nice. Yeah, let it breathe a little more. It's never too late. You can let it breathe and age as you put some wood in there on it. It'll be fine. Now you're going to get all philosophical, huh? I love me some Python. They're pretty funny. I love that kind of humor. Yeah, it's best to always air it out if you can wait. What's going on, Scott? Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I'm caught up. Awesome. It just took 15 minutes. What's going on, Brian? Good to see you, brother. How things down there in your neck of the woods? Heard it actually snowed down there in Florida. Haven't done that in quite some time. Y'all remind me at 9 to finish sharing those links. Can you recharge your yoke? Absolutely. Or you can use it in your smoker, but yeah, you can recharge wood. I do barrel staves all the time. I get used barrel staves and cut them up. Well, my neighbor makes furniture and does art projects and stuff with it, and he gives me all the little pieces, which is perfect for me, putting in jars and stuff. So yeah, I'll scrape it and sand the backside of it down and just hold it with some tongs and propane char the shit out of it. I don't toast them usually. I probably should, but I just char them. They've been toasted, and it works well. But they're good in the smoker too. When you're done with them, you chart them several times, and you just you know not getting much out of them anymore. Yeah, you toss them in the smoker for sure. Yeah, bourbon barrels have to be new. Yeah, for it to be called a bourbon, they have to be new barrels. Yeah, aging and maturation. Now we talked about esterification. That's more of a maturing. That's the chemical process. Aging, I think, would be more of the, or maybe I'm backwards on that. More of the wood. So when you age in a barrel, you're doing two things because you can age in a jar, right? You can do that, get the esterification and the changes and the chemical changes without it being in a barrel. So, but putting it in a barrel also ages it as it matures it. So, wines mature, and mature over time, and that's the esterification process. But aging it, I would think more barrel aged. What's your thought on that, Mr. Clint? So JJ, so I was thinking maturation because they talk about maturing wines and stuff, and that's just the esterification and the flavor changes and the chemical processes. Whereas I think aging, it's interesting concept though because I think both of them kind of go hand in hand. But aging, to mature, of course, it takes time and it takes aging. So that's interesting. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think when they talk about wines maturing, they're talking about the esterification of it, right? It's not that, but it is maturing over time and aging, but it's not an aging process as what we look at like on aging on a barrel. And it's a little bit different in wines than it would be in a whiskey. But yeah, it's interesting. Interesting. Actually, I like both. Most barrel companies will toast their barrels and then they'll char them, right? So most will do both. And I I put those. Did I put the link? I put them on the DIY Shine It Stuff page, and I don't know if I showed them on here, but we can go on with them. Did I show them on here Wednesday? Well, we talked a little bit about that. I was talking to Patrick last night. We were on the shit show. Excuse me. And Patrick's my buddy down there in Mexico, and he's got Celtic Hills Distillery down there, and won 3 gold medals, for his whiskey. And good guy, real good guy. He kind of got his start, cut his teeth there in the militia, and we pumped him full of information, and he took it and ran with it, and learned on his own, and I guess he listened to a lot of what we had to say, and he started a distillery down there and worked his butt off, and and he's got three gold jar, not jars, bottles, 3 gold bottles now. So we were talking last night about the rick houses and how he should age it, and he was wondering if he should age it in a controlled environment. And it's generally probably best not to. Um, Reason being, humidity changes, temperature changes, weather changes create character, right? And they'll force alcohol into the pores. The hotter that gets, it thins and gets into the pores deeper. The colder it gets thicker and gets different notes. So having the temperature swings um, from high to low really help. That's why Kentucky does so good in aging and produces some of the best, is because here we have such crazy swings in the spring and fall. We can go from 20 to 80, right? That literally happened this this past fall. And when winter was starting, we'd be, 70s one day, 20s the next day, back to 70s the next day. It's crazy, and that kind of stuff. Yeah, he is Patrick, great guy. So a lot of that helps, but having no swing, and just kind of consistent may, develop a different note and something he can call his own down there. So I would definitely wouldn't go to the expense of trying to control the environment because it would be an additional expense. I would just, make me a barn down there and some good sturdy shelving, because you don't want to lose those barrels. What's going on, Edwin? I would say risk and cost. The overhead's so high, and really, they'll just age it. Most places have decent temperature swings. I mean, if you got distilleries in Texas and Florida, where it's hot most of the time, but they get temperature differences too. But yeah, you want it to be outside. You don't want it to be inside under air conditioned all the time at a constant temperature. The more you can vary it, I won't necessarily say the better, but the more unique, right? So it'll be different flavors, but maybe not necessarily better. Better is subjective, and that's based on taste. So some people would say, well, I tried some that was done in Texas, and it was constant, 90-degree rick house, and it was great, So it's just going to be different, right? Yeah, make you a bourbon barge. What's going on, Stevie? Good to see you, brother. I don't know if Pam's in here or not, Edwin. How's it going, brother? I like to think Pam was watching. Oh, that's cool. That's good. I'll tell old Pam, old bad Santa said hello. Yeah, barometric pressure, all of it has an impact. I'm not sure about I'm not sure about all the rocking and stuff. I think that got to start on the show. I've never seen that. Everybody in the world is now trying to um, speed up the process. Hey, I'm glad you learned it, brother. That's what we're here for. Got any questions? Feel free to ask, brother. That's why we're here. We ask all questions if we can. But yeah, I think that kind of got started on the show, and with in some of the groups maybe, because everybody's trying to figure out the next best way to rapid age, and rapid mature and rapid age, and there's nothing that can really. I don't know. I shouldn't say there isn't anything that can't speed up the chemical process some, but getting it to mature and age properly, it's it's not been mastered yet. I mean, you can speed up the color changes. Uh, yeah, they put it on the Ferris wheel or the pony ride, and they put it on the houseboat on the rivers and all that stuff, and microwave. Microwave microwave actually is a good way to take out if you get some cloud up on you while you're proofing it down. Now you got to be real careful when you use microwave because sometimes they can spark, and you definitely don't want to do it very long. It doesn't take long. If you've ever boiled water in a microwave, you understand that real quickly, and you can be very dangerous taking it out. It can explode when it does the temperature change. So you got to be extremely, extremely careful. I probably shouldn't talk about this, but yeah, it's just a little bit of time in there, just a few seconds, never minutes or anything like that. It's going to be very short periods of time and little by little, a few seconds at a time, right? Yeah, yeah, they do a lot of blending. Hey, Miss Lisa, how are you? Hope you're having a good weekend and staying warm up there in the Great White North. Well, she in Canada, but she's damn close. She's probably north of Chris. Not in the same state though. Yeah, you can't replace time in a barrel. No, there's probably somebody on there trying to imitate me. I don't know. They got a bad sound on there talking about liquor. Do they, Edwin? Tell me. They might. Somebody trying to act like me. They want to be me. I know I don't do TikTok. It's China. I don't contribute to China. That's some of that government stuff. I don't fool around with all that. And I'm not here to get famous or go viral. And a lot of people do that TikTok hoping they'll go viral and get monetized and trying to make money from it. That's not my intent at all. I don't care about all that fame and going viral and all that shit. I'm just here to teach people and have a good time, brother. But I am curious if Evan are they on TikTok talking about making liquor really? Frauds, frauds. They have a bad sound. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check it out and see, Edwin. You better not be trying to act like me. We're gonna have to put the hammer on him anyway. Yeah, that's one of the things we can do. That big commercial industries can't. We can do little custom things to it. They've got so much, and time is money for them, and everything is an expense, and everything is allocated. And that's why they can't really run up costs. Where costs aren't as significant to us. We're more of a craft thing. So craft distillers and home distillers can do a lot of things that these big guys can't. What's going on, Billy? I didn't see you sneak in here, brother. Sorry about that. Howdy, howdy. Hope you're staying warm. I should eat my dinner a little bit sooner. I'm burping, and I'll have to check that out, Edwin. Oh, he's not talking about liquor. All right. Because there was a bad Santa movie, which I liked, and I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, you'd probably be getting some snow and ice here for long. Brr. So you thinking twice about moving in? I hope you don't have any regrets moving to Tennessee, man. I promise it gets better, but the winters can be hard. Just be glad you're not up there in Minnesota or Maine or Wisconsin or North Dakota or Vermont. All those northern states, man, they get cold as hell up there, man. A little bit too cold for me. Yeah, I can't wait to get some corn. I'm gonna start doing grains. I've been doing a lot of brandies, and I gotta start doing some grains. I'd better, brother. I'd better. Good to see you, man. I'd better shine up, straighten up. Man, that's too damn cold. Well, I mean, it was 7 here last night, and it's going to be 8 tonight. But so that's we've had some negatives last year. We had like a negative one day, but that was just for a day or two, and then it got better. So, uh, one good thing about it, got to look on the bright side. All them mosquitoes, all them bug larvae, and all that shit's getting killed off. So this year won't be as bad for bugs as usual, right? So when we have those mild winters, bugs seem to be a lot worse. And you got to powder your plants in the garden and stuff. And maybe this year we won't have to do as much of that. So got to find the bright side of everything. Yeah, man. I love me some Floyd. That was Sid Barrett is who they were talking to about on that. It took me a while to remember, getting old, man. But yeah, Sid Barrett. Nobody knew if he died or if he just had to leave the group because he's wanted in so many countries for drugs and stuff that they couldn't hardly tour anywhere because he's wanted in so many places. So, um, yeah, true Vikings, man, cold as hell. Imagine. Did you imagine? I was trying to figure out what the hell were you thinking here, right? Did you imagine anything good this week? Is that auto wrecked? Chris looks like a Viking. His beard's about like mine. Very good feller. Met him and his wife both. They're good people. Had dinner, had a good time. Good peeps. Yeah. I got Ann cleaned up, got her car cleaned off. I surprised her. I woke up, well, I didn't wake up. I went out and got her car warmed up for her and scraped it off and got it all cleaned up. It was cold as hell out there, man. I mean, ice that thick on the car, man. 2 inches thick came off her car. Shit, I had to get in the trunk. I broke her scraper. It was so fucking thick. I broke her damn scraper. She had another one in the trunk. I looked in there. She had ice on her trunk. She's been driving that car all week too, and there's still ice. I swear you just have 2 inches thick on her trunk. It's all over my car. I mean, it's still a big snowball. So what else been going on this week? We all got going. Made some good food. What'd you make? I'm good on the TikTok bad singer. That's got me wondering. He's probably just a comedian or something. Now, Billy Bob Thornton is who I was trying to think of. I can't remember his name, but from the show. Oh, so I guess it's Billy Bob, or is it somebody acting like you? If it's Billy Bob, I'll have to say that's going to be all right then. If it's Billy Bob Thornton doing it, I'll say it. He has my permission since he was the original Bad Santa. Corn on your back. Cranberry corn whiskey. That sounds good. Cranberry corn whiskey. I like the sound of that. But that'd be pretty good. I like cranberry. I used to hate it when I was a kid. Man, I hated cranberry growing up, but I guess as you get older, you change. Man, I love it now. But I still hate liver. I hated liver as a kid, and I still hate it now. But yeah, cranberry. I never cared for it growing up at all. And now, man, I can crave that shit. Especially that cranberry jam and stuff. You ever had cranberry jam and pepper jelly? Man, my grandmother, my other grandmother used to make some killer pepper jelly. And now my first cousin, Rhonda, does, man. She makes some really good pepper jelly. Yeah, it was good dinner, man. It was. Old Maggie Valley. Actually went to Waynesville and ate. You can't eat like that in Maggie. We had to go to a nice place in Waynesville. As nice as it gets in Waynesville. Yeah, I just ate, so I ain't getting hungry. But I know last night I made a big mistake. It was late night. It was after the shit show. Late night, sitting up. And was off today, so we get to stay up a little bit late. And I ate a bowl of chili at like 2 o'clock. And went to sleep on that. Man, I woke up this morning. I wasn't feeling very good. Koshered. Yeah, I don't think that pork's gonna get koshered. Holy shit, man! I hope you're all right, brother. It's sleeping hell, man. What happened here was we got that ice or the snow, and then the ice came after that, right? And then mixed. And when I walked outside to get the mail, I wasn't thinking about it, but I was making footprints, right? You do that in the snow. Well, the ice came. And every one of those footprints and walking out and back, I should have just stepped in the same foothold. But it made it rough as a cob and it hadn't melted. And it's just, and it's really, you can turn an ankle in it. It's slippery and deep. And man, it's, I fucking, oh man, I don't, you know, I've got some salt. I hate to have to use it because I don't want to hurt the grass and shit, but I may end up having to. But that was a big mistake. I should just walk through the yard. When am I going to learn? And because I didn't want to get the snow up because I knew the snow was the only thing keeping me from slipping on the ice, because underneath that snow was like there, it still is there. It's like an inch and a half thick sheet of ice, like what was on her car, and it's about that thick. And it's an inch and a half. That's 6 inches. What we're talking about. But yeah, it was bad, man. Now it's got all these little divots and holes, man. It's rough, rough, and you can't shovel it. I broke a scraper trying to scrape it. I don't want to tear my shovel up. It's plastic, little snow shovel thing. I hope you're feeling better, brother. I hope you didn't hurt nothing. Kosher means to bless. All right. I thought it meant that it was safe to eat for Jews and something Islam, Muslims, something with their religion. I know they're different religions, but yeah. What's going on, Mr. Russell? Good to see you. I tell you, me and Ann can cook. She's like a gourmet chef, man. She makes some of the best damn meals, man. It's kind of like my granny. She's a really good cook. And she's happy. She'll be there cooking and singing and all happy and shit. Most of my exes are, God damn, I have to cook another meal. There's some bitch. And Anna's just, oh, yes, big difference. Hopefully that'll never change. Kosher scrapple. I have no idea what that means. Kosher scrapple. I'll have to look it up. I don't know what a lot of that stuff is. I was without the oink. Now, how the hell I never heard of scrapple in this breakfast meat? Oh, that's why, because it's pork trimmings, liver, and cornmeal. It's got liver in it. That's why I never heard of it. I hate it. I hate eating it. Liver. Ugh. Yep, I'll pass. That's all I didn't know. That's why I forgot it. Put it out of my head. I hate liver. I hate livers. Ugh, can't stand it. Liver, gizzards too. I eat hearts, and hell, I've eaten squirrel brain, but I ain't not liver. I hate it. Don't like the taste of it. Never did. Never will. I'll try anything though. I tried it. No, nope, 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 nope. Beef liver, chicken liver. Now I will say, fried chicken livers are better than the beef liver and onions, but I still hate it. When I was a kid, my mom and them, everybody loved them, and I hated them. And my mom would, when I was to eat, when I was put on the plate, right? So I'd chipmunk that shit in my cheeks so I could get dessert, and my cheeks be puffed up. Might be excused. And my mom and everybody, they was laughing on the inside. And they'd say, yep, yep. And I thought I was pulling a fast one. I'd go in the bathroom to spit it all out. And so I could have my dessert. But yeah, that was my day of fasting, or not eating the livers. I got a little bit. Awesome, awesome. That sounds good. Then gin, man, y'all like starting hard out. Just jump all the way in with both feet, man. It's not even cut her teeth on the little thin mashes and shit. Yeah, start complex. Ain't nothing wrong with that though. That's good. Yeah, I'm not much on liquors either. Anise and licorice and star anise and all that. Not a big fan of that either. How'd you know that, JJ? You heard me talk about that. Now, Venice, corned Venice, now you talking. Hell yeah. Damn, bro. And that's what these little eyes are like, man. They're bad, bad. Yeah, I'm worried Ann's going to twist an ankle going out on them. I wish it wasn't so damn thick. You know, hell, it'd take a hammer and chisel, jackhammer to get that up right now. It's literally with the snow and everything melted. It was like 3 inches of snow and then an inch and a half of ice, and now it's just all solid. You know, so it's probably about that thick of freaking ice right now. And it's just all which ways, and it's not good. Yeah, you live on thin ice, don't you? Halal. Okay, that's good to know, brother. Halal and kosher. Yeah, I've heard that before. Same thing, different name. Yep, yep. Daddy, you kill me, man. Oh, it's funny shit. If it looked like bacon, I'd probably eat it too. Hey, I'd eat hog head cheese. Ain't no, yeah. I mean, I'll try anything, and if I like it, I'll finish it. I don't give a shit if it's pig nuts, I don't care if it's testicles or whatever, but no, not with the liver. No, I tried it, don't like it. I even had them recently, still don't like it. Yeah, Chris don't like the scrapple either. Yeah, man, I can remember back when I was a child. Better than I can remember last week for some odd reason. That's how my head works. I don't know. I remember my lot of my childhood, some things vividly. Yeah, I'll do the hog head cheese. She don't like livers either. If she'll try gizzards, all right. We never did do a lot of gizzards. Texture wasn't real good. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a liver. It's different. But yeah, nope, no, thank you. Plus, I don't think liver is good for you, man. It's full of impurities that the body of the animal that had it trapped, and you know how dirty a fucking chicken is, and all the bad shit gets trapped in their liver, and you're gonna put that in your body. There's better ways to get iron. Eat some fucking peas. Turkey bacon. Yeah, I've tried that. I'm not a big fan. Turkey burger either. Nah. I mean, I guess if you have that, I guess there's a disease that if you get this. Now it's not the spotted fever. It's a tick-borne disease. Donnie Bent got it, and it makes you have sensitivities to beef and pork, and if you eat it, you get violently ill. It makes you really, really sick. And I think it's, what is that tick? It's a spot something text. I'll know here in just a second. It wasn't limes, it was something different. It wasn't Rocky Mountain. They called it something like ABE or something like that. I can't remember. But Donnie Bent got it. Alpha gal syndrome, and Lone Star tick things. That's what it was. I'm glad I saw this. Mayo Clinic, yeah. Alpha gal. And you get it from the Lone Star tick. And it makes you allergic to, really, not allergic, but it makes you get really, really bad. And that's a complex one. That's good. That's good. My first was thin mash. My second was thin mash. My 30th was thin mash. I did thin mash for many, many decades, several decades, before I started doing it the other way, then conversions and stuff. Just didn't have all the tools, and didn't have the amylase and enzymes, and the ability to malt, knowledge, it all. There is no, I know the right way to cook liver, man, is you nail it to a board and you put it over a fire and you let it get good and charred, and then you scrape off the liver and eat the board. That's what they say. How you do that? You use the same recipe for carp too. All right, finally, look, the question here: is it better to specialize in the spirit to perfect distillation before branching out? I just like all types of spirits, so I'm odd when it comes to this. No, not at all. And and see, that's the thing about moonshining versus distilling. Moonshiners get stuck in that corn liquor, thin mash kind of mentality, and really a lot of most times don't get out of it. That's what they learn, and I'm guilty of it, because that's, like I just said a minute ago, I did thin mash for 30 years right before I ever started doing other stuff. So I was in a rut, and it was okay liquor. It was fine. It's good. Everybody liked it. Said it's good. It's about as good as anybody else made. Better than most. And but that's the difference between a moonshiner and a distiller. A moonshiner, will make the corn liquor and follow the family tradition and make it the same way, and usually don't vary. And why should they? They've perfected it. They've run it for many, 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 many years, and I probably can make a thin mash better than just about anybody. Because I did that so long. But once there's nothing wrong with branching out, learning different things, and you shouldn't focus on perfecting any one thing unless you want to go into business. Now, if you're in a business, like we were talking with Alan and Patrick, when you're in a business, it's different. You probably should try to focus on turning out less. I know a lot of people go in, and the next thing you know, they got 10 different liquors, on the shelf, and that's great, but you're spreading yourself pretty thin doing that. And it's best to make something unique and have a story behind it. That's what people seem to want these days, is a good liquor and a story behind it. So, and a lot of people tend to make what they like, and that's not necessarily the best thing to do either, because that might not be what the industry wants. And there's a lot of people going into the business. I'm going to become a bourbon maker. It's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough market, and it's pretty saturated with a lot of bourbons. I'm not saying you can't, but you go into business, and you're going to have to buy new barrels. You're going to have to make a bourbon. You're going to have to put it in those barrels. You're going to have to wait at least 3 or 4 years before you can sell it, right? So, I mean, how many people can survive 3 or 4 years of business with no income? No, you can't, because there's so much over it. Unless you're just rich to start with and you're just doing it as a hobby, and you're just playing. I guess you could do it that way. But legitimate business, where you're going to have some income. It's going to be tough, right? So you're going to have something else to get you through until you can start selling your bourbon. So in which case, you can do bourbon, but at the same time, you need to put out a product, vodka or a gin or something that can be drank without aging, or maturing. So that's a good question, brother. But it's fine. It's great to make a lot of different things. Yeah, I marinate mine too. That's funny. Right. And you'll find out, and I don't want to get into a huge religious discussion or anything, but Islam kind of imitated Judaism a lot in the early times, trying to get acceptance and gain acceptance amongst the Jews and other people. Didn't work out very well for them, but they adopted a lot of the things. I've read a little bit about it, and they adopted a lot of the things in an attempt to become more accepted. A lot of people don't realize it, but they came from about the same area and the same people. Yes, it is, man. It kicks in quite often. Yeah, they got Sunni, Shia, a lot of other ones. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Just gonna put that out there. Jews are fine, but not a big fan of Islam at all. I know that's what a liver is. It's a filter, man. It filters out impurities. Who wants that, right? That's just putting those impurities in your system. No deer livers, no nothing. Yeah, I don't. It's complicated. I don't try to. I just not a big fan of Islam and what they tried, what they're trying to do to the world and take over. And just not a big fan of that. Don't want to get in that discussion here, but I agree. It is a turkey burger. It was just not the same. Yeah, I like hearts too, especially sweethearts. Yeah, eat peas. Yeah, there you go. Give it cirrhosis before you eat it. That's gonna make it better. Is it Lyme's disease? I I was thinking the tick, red star, or whatever. It's tick. It's that Lone Star tick or whatever shit. But yeah, Donnie Benton got that. And hopefully he's just took a shot here lately. The kind of experimental shot that's hopefully he'll be able to eat normally again and eat. I think regular beef and stuff too, but mostly a lot of pork and stuff. Yeah, something. Yeah, yeah, yep. North Star tick. It's actually called. Let me find it again here. Lone Star tick. Lone Star. Lone Star tick is mainly found in southern and eastern. Let's see. It might be a form of lines. I don't know. Got tick diseases. Let me read about it now. Lone Star tick. Lone Star tick is mainly found in southern and eastern U.S. Scientific name, whatever. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Heartland virus disease. Southern tick associated rash illness star. Bourbon virus disease. Oh my God. Crazy. Alpha gal syndromes. Alpha gal. G-A-L. Alpha gal, probably. Bites from Lone Star tick can sometimes lead to alpha gal syndrome, which is associated with a meat allergy. As a tick feeds, it transfers a sugar molecule called alpha gal into the body. In some people, this molecule triggers a reaction from the body's immune system. It causes an allergic reaction to certain meats, such as beef, pork, or lamb, but not poultry or fish. And it may cause, hell, who knows? Maybe I got bit on them some bitches. I get sick every time I eat. But I ain't gonna quit eating meat. Hell, I'll just let it kill me. Lone Star tick. Don't even serve pork. That's crazy. Good, save it for me. Save it for me. Yeah, let's give it some. You really fuck around and find out disease for the little ticks. He emptied a 5-gallon all grain barrel. Didn't like the flavor. Blended all of it with an all grain, red, white, blue corn. Now fantastic. Yeah, that's, there's a lot of stuff that's sometimes not so good alone, but you blend it and it makes it better. Kind of like my banana rum. It wasn't bad. It had a really dark, grungy flavor, and it was that way throughout. It hit you with grunge from the very beginning, in the middle, and finished with it. And it wasn't bad, so I wasn't going to pitch it or rerun it. It was an interesting flavor, but it just didn't have any depth, right? So I decided to add it to my root beer and infused it with the root beer, man. And that grunge helped that root beer, man. They paired well together. So sometimes if you get bitter liquor, just make limoncello, right? Yeah, I think learning the fundamentals, right? So just stick with the basic, and I think a lot of people jump in with both feet, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to, but be prepared if you do complex things starting out to fail, and I'm not saying you're setting yourself up for failure. You're just, setting high goals, and there's nothing wrong with setting high goals and standards and trying to achieve those, but don't get discouraged if you don't, because starting out in an advanced thing, sometimes it doesn't turn out. So be prepared for failure. I'm not saying you're setting yourself up for it, but just, accept it if you get it and never throw it away. Unless it gets scorched, always just rerun it. You can run it, rerun it, and if it's still not good, put it on a damn column and strip it clean. You can strip it clean, just pure ethanol, and it won't taste bad unless it's scorched. Yeah, yeah. Back in the days, they and it depends on where you were. So regional shine, would be a little bit different, based on what was available, and down south, around where there were a lot of sugar cane and stuff grown, and you'd see a lot more, molasses and sugar cane based shines, whereas, in the farm belt and, places like that, definitely be more corn liquor, right? And in places like, Appalachia, it basically we couldn't get cane not a lot of cane. My cousins grew cane, but that was much later. But back in the old days, I'm talking about there wasn't a lot of cane grown up here. A lot of marijuana was grown, and well, it wasn't marijuana. It was well, hemp. Back in the old days, there was a lot of hemp grown in Kentucky, but what a lot of corn grown in the mountains, right? Mountains weren't necessarily a very good farming, environment. In the hills is kind of hard to grow in the hills, right? So, a lot of the moonshine came basically a lot of sugar and cornmeal, thin mashes. So, but everybody basically, was using what they could, what was indigenous, what was cheap, what was readily available. So a lot of brandies done in Appalachia because we had a lot of fruit trees and stuff, and you know, same all the way down to Georgia. There's a lot of peach brandy coming out of there, even way back when. So yeah, that was Islam started in like 440 after the death of Jesus. So Christianity had been around a long time before Islam ever got started. Yes, Chris, and actually she's up there around close to you. I guess you could probably get you some thighs and see. Gave me some cards to give out. She said I could share info. Kelly Graham's her name, and she was at Farm to Bottle this past year. And damn, she has a card that's hard to read. Here's a card. Actually, probably read on there better than here. Furniture, Lazy Susan, Wood Items, Wine Barrels, Whiskey Barrels. Kelly Graham and Knightstown, Indiana. Uh, Her number 76. You ready to write this down, Chris? And for anybody else that is interested in barrels, she's got 15s and 5s, and they're not cheap. They're $100 and some dollars, $100. But good new barrels, good barrels. Might be once used. I can't remember. Kelly Graham, 765-571-0668. Kelly Graham. And she can hook you up with 15s and 5s. Got both. Yeah, she was at Farm to Bottle last year, and she'll probably be there again this year. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of Islam and what all they're trying to do and trying to take over, the world basically. So what's going on? Going to the top. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Doing good, brother. How about yourself? Oh yeah, y'all forgot to remind me to share that damn link. So yeah, I'm glad I got memory. Let me see here. Make sure I got the right link and shit. All right. Hour and 9 minutes. I should be able to share that now. Man, on this one page, this dude's how long is too long for a mash? This has been sitting 3 years now, man. You should see the top of it. It's coated with lacto. It looks like freaking cheese loaf. It's crazy. Probably good though. Who knows? So it smells good. Oh, man, if it smells good, run it. Worst thing happening is it just not taste good. But it was covered in lacto, man. That's the worst lacto infection I've ever seen. Her best, depending on how you look at it. All right, I'm about done sharing. Yeah, I think everybody does have the right, but Islam forces their religion on you. It's either our way or the highway or our way or death kind of thing, and that I have fundamental issues with. All other religions can peacefully coexist, but with Islam there can be no other religion, and I have issues with that. Well, yeah. Speaking of places with that problem spreading, yep, they can tell you a lot about that in Europe right now. Yep. What's going on, Chris? Yep, probably. It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard that Lyme's disease started in the lab too. Wow. What's going on, Colton? Yeah, yeah. Time for shots. It's past time. Man, I ain't quite been that last night when I started it. Well, not quite. I'm trying to slow down. Hell, I drink 3 or 4 times a week now. Start getting old. I start drinking more wine. It's a little easier on me. That hard liquor makes my liver quiver. That's right. We were talking about that earlier. All right. You gonna have to you have to decipher that, man. I'm having trouble, Jim. Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm feeling better actually. This past week, I've been feeling better than I have for quite some time. I hope that's not the calm before the storm, or a lot of people say that. Oh, before I got deathly ill, I felt a lot better. I hope that's not the case. But been feeling pretty good, brother. Have I ever made amaretto? Any tips? No, I have not. But drank quite a bit of it. I used to drink amaretto and Irish cream and vodka. Pretty good combo. Let's see what's in an amaretto. I've never met Clint. You ever made amaretto? All right. How to make homemade amaretto. Prepare the syrup. In a saucepan, combine water, brown sugar, and granulated sugar. Bring to a boil, reduce heat, and simmer until the sugars dissolve. Allow to cool completely. It's got to have some. Yeah, there's vanilla. Mix the cooled syrup with vodka, almond extract, and vanilla extract in a glass jar. Shake well and let it sit in a dark place for 1 to 3 days to allow the flavors to blend. So it's maturing and esterification, a little esterification going on, and well, probably a little different terms than esterification. But to storage, pour it in a glass bottle, seal tightly, and store it in a cool, dark place for up to 2 months. It's got a little bit better shelf life than I thought it might have. But yeah, it's not too difficult to make. But a lot of people like it in their coffee. And you can cook with it. And in desserts, yeah. Here's the Taste of Home Amaretto recipe. They have some good recipes on that Taste Home. They got some vodka, sugar, and almond extract. Brown sugar, cane sugar, and vodka. Of course, we just use good old high quality shine. But yeah, just basically the same recipe. A lot of good recipes on here. And we get that off my screen. They do that. Yeah, there are a lot of seems like pretty good recipes. Be a good little project to try. Because it's good with some Baileys, amaretto and Baileys and vodka is what we always drink. Good combination. A little Kahlua or a Kahlua. I guess that's a little bit different than the Kahlua. Now to make Kahlua, probably I have to have some coffee or something. Here we go. Let's see. Homemade Kahlua, easy how to make. Okay, let's see. Kahlua is a coffee liquor. Yeah, homemade Kahlua coffee liquor. A liqueur, I should say. Made from freshly brewed, dark roasted coffee, sugar, vanilla beans, and vodka, all combined. Interesting. So it's not hard to make a lot of stuff like that, man. Especially these days when you got the internet to help you and some YouTube videos. Hell, they may have done that already. Who knows? He's done about everything else. But I haven't experimented with things like that. But might give it a try. Homemade Kahlua and amaretto. That sounds pretty interesting, man. That's good little projects. I'm getting behind. Oh, Chris, just, well, if I missed what you said the first time, man. Yeah, water is very important, especially in wines and beers, more so than liquor, but still very critical. I mean, it's the foundation, and so important that when the Irish came over and settled in America, they started making whiskeys and stuff. They looked all over, high and low, north and south, and found Kentucky is a place with the best water because that was their primary concern, the best water. So it has to be pretty important for them to search high and low, and you know they chose here. The reason they chose here is because we have a lot of limestone without iron and a lot of creeks. Kentucky has more running water than any state other than Alaska. A lot of people don't know that. Not Stillwater now. That's probably Minnesota or land, state of the lakes, but more running water than any continental state. But I think Alaska has more running water, just because it's so massive and so much runoff melts. But yeah, Kentucky has more streams and rivers and creeks than any other state in the continental U.S. And for a state that's size, that's saying something. There's a lot of streams and creeks and rivers and underground, springs and stuff here in Kentucky, and that's one of the reasons that they started making it here because it's good water. All right, Jeff, Midwest Barrel. How much are they? What's going on, GP? Yeah, we moved from Wednesdays to Tuesdays. Doing good, brother. Oh, that's good to hear, man. Hopefully the surgery comes through well. You stay in touch with us. Let us know what's going on, man. Definitely stay in touch with me, brother. I hope you do. Hope it takes care of the problems. That's right. We're here for you, brother. Yeah, I like Poland too. I like their stance. That's the reason it's one of the only safe places in Europe is because of their stances. I'm not going to get too political on all that, but yeah, there's a reason they didn't sell out their country. I agree 100%. Yeah, root beer's pretty good. Yeah, well, my thoughts on Islam is I don't think Islam's a true religion. I think it's more a theocracy because it's a form of government, a form of rule that's based on the religion. So I don't really think it's a true religion per se. I think it's more of a type of government and a type of rule established. And I'm usually any religion I'm tolerable of, but I'm kind of intolerant of that because they don't tolerate others. So why should we give them the respect that they don't give other religions? So I make exceptions for them. Yeah, almond based amaretto. Yeah, it's good. Irish cream. Man, I love me some Bailey's Irish cream. I used to drink the hell out of it, man. But I'm not I'm not real good on cream alcohols. There's a lot of people that does a lot of the creams these days and stuff, and I guess I'm kind of lactose intolerant. Um, so I don't do a lot of the creams anymore, Cave Daddy. But I used to like the Baileys and do the B52 bombs and Kahlua and Baileys and vodka and amaretto and Baileys and vodka. But I don't do them so much anymore. It's don't do well, but I still eat ice cream, man. I force myself. I'll get sick every time I do, but I'm still gonna eat it. That what is it, cookies and cream, man? I love that shit. And that Snicker bar ice cream, I got a weakness. Yeah, I haven't made amaretto either. It sounds like a good little project. Make some amaretto and Kahlua. I'm not big on coffee, but I do like Kahlua, and I love the smell of coffee and Mark's Coffee Shine. I've got some left of that. Love that, man. It's good, good, good. If you haven't ever tried Coffee Shine, try Mark Morgan's. It's damn good. And try to make some. I haven't tried it yet, but just infuse with it, basically. Just put some fresh ground coffee in your infuser pot and let it carry over. Man, I was wild at Maggie. I drank all day. I don't know how much I drank, probably at least half a quart. And then I went to Mark's that evening and he had a quart of that coffee shine and I got hold of it and I wouldn't let go of it. Man, I drank almost that whole damn quart on top of what I drank all day. So I probably drank a quart and a half at least that day, maybe close to two half a gallon. That's hard. Oh man. I was hungover for about 3 days too. Yeah, we try to avoid all that. We try not to talk about it. But yeah, I treat that one different than all the others. I think I don't like it. No like it. I make exceptions for it. Is it? I want to see a video of it. I don't know. I don't know. Almond milk is what the recipe called for, so it'd be hard to milk one. Hey, how you milk an almond like it? I don't know. Instant coffee, freeze dried, probably would. And is it? I'm not a coffee drinker, I probably drank less than 10 cups of coffee in my life. I've drank more coffee shine than I have coffee. That's a fact. In one night, I drank more coffee shine than I had coffee. But is that kind of concentrated to freeze dried? If so, it'd probably be pretty good. Well, it's not racism because Islam encompasses multi different races. There's white people, black people, Asians. There's people of all nationalities that are that. But yeah, I don't mind talking about other religions. Hindu, I don't care if you're Hindu, Shinto, all the do's and who's. But when it comes to Islam, I don't think that it really counts. And I don't offend anybody by that, but sorry if I do. Yeah, that coffee shine infused, man, it's good stuff. Yeah, that's probably too much iron in that water, man. Interesting. See, I don't know anything about coffee. So when it comes to that, you and Clint, all of them can talk because I am coffee illiterate. I don't know shit about it. Like I said, I probably drank 10 cups in my life. I've never fooled with it. I thought, man, I've got enough problems as it is. I'm addicted to, well, when I was younger, I was like, man, I do plenty of other things, I don't need to add something else to it. Because I saw how people were, my parents and everybody, and it's like everybody was a grouchy, mean, mad, bitter, until they get that cup of coffee one morning. It's just like Jekyll and Hyde. And I was like, God damn, is that how it makes people? It kind of fuck. So yeah, I thought, man, I don't want to do any of that. Yeah, no, I haven't had concrete mix, but I just can't do creams anymore. I did some, like I said, the Baileys with the B52s and stuff back in the day, in my early 20s, that was fine when I was young and had a gut that could handle things. But Kaylee's, Kahlua, and Grand Marnier, yeah, that sounds good too. But yeah, we did B52s, which I guess was Bailey's and Kahlua and vodka, and it was good. Is it interesting? Because I may make some because I do love the coffee. I love the smell of coffee too. I love the smell of it. Yeah, I like coffee, but I just never liked drinking coffee. And I drank it. The 10 cups I drank was when I was in college and studying for some finals. And wanting to stay up and study for finals and stuff. And I stayed up with some friends and we crammed and stuff and we drank coffee that one year. But after that, I never drank it again and never have since. I don't know. Irish cream with lemon or lime juice dropped in a pot. Chug it before it goes to butter. I was going to say, man, you mix lemon juice or lime juice and milk or cream, and it what they call it coagulates and curdles. That's the word I was looking for. Curdles. It makes a cheese, butter. I think it would. I think you would get some carryover. Absolutely. If you did an infuser, let me add foxtrot. If you put it in an infuser instead of a thumper, thumpers are pretty good size, right? And they're big. And it's just that's the reason we came up with the infusers is because the thumpers are just too big to infuse. It just takes too much volume. So a lot of times the infusion liquid stuff is concentrated and pretty expensive, right? So it's sometimes cost prohibitive as well. So making the smaller infuser jars where you can infuse, dump the infusion, add more, add more as you each pint or each quart as you come out. A lot of people will reinfuse after each quart. They'll dump that infuser, add more, and till they get to the end of the next quart, they'll dump it, reinfuse till they get to down to the next quart. Depending on the size of your infuser, and that seems to work. As far as helping carry the flavor over. And what they do with the leftover a lot of times is they dump it out. I say dump it in your pot if you got to, I've got a way where I can pour it back into the pot while it's running. I got me a little funnel on there, open the valve up, and you got to be an open system, right? And just open it up, bypasses, and let it air. That way it doesn't all, feed back, but slowly pour it back in there, and you can add it to the pot to add, increase the flavors too. What's going on, brother? Not much, man. Good to see you, bro. How you been, my friend? You staying warm? I'm sorry, I'm a little behind. Not too far, 6 minutes. Yeah. Where is Shadow? Let me talk to him anyway. Bourbon cream you have is good. I've just not been able to do the creams, bro. I was younger, I could do it. I'm somewhat lactose intolerant, and I think also getting sick on it a few times. When you get young, you get crazy and drink way too much of it. And I did that with gin too. I didn't drink gin for a long, long time because I got really sick on it. There's nothing worse than gin going through your nose when you're throwing it up. But yeah, the creams, I've got sick on it, and I found out because I'm lactose intolerant, so is most of my family. But yeah, just never been able to get into the creams. I mean, I could sip one. I could, do a little bit of sipping on one, and that'd be fine. I could add drink or two. But as far as just sitting down to get drunk, no, Lord, no, 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 that wouldn't be good. Yeah, it'd be nice for y'all to get along, but it's not in. What's going on, Roy? Good to see you, brother. It's just food. Yeah. I've never been a big beer drinker either, man. I drank a lot of beer, but that was just because I didn't want to get drunk and drink liquor that night, right? So I had to drink something. But there's a point in time in my life, man, I just sit there and I was trying to think, when's the last day that passed that I didn't drink? Not necessarily get drunk, but drink. And I was thinking back and and I'm like, man, has it been that long? I couldn't think of the last day that passed that I didn't drink at least a beer or liquor or wine or something. Usually liquor. But man, I need to slow down. But yeah, if I didn't want to get drunk, I'd be drinking beer. But that wasn't too often. I was that way until I had my first child. That kind of slowed me down. Yeah, and I think that's what that one's all. Islam is submit, right? That's what it means, is to submit. They want you to submit. And they want to spread it. Other than that, I don't have any problem with any other religion in the world, man. I don't care any other religion. That's a true religion, but I just don't see that as it's a theocracy. And that's where I think it kind of deviates from a normal religion. But I am usually a tolerant person, and I don't hate people because they're that. They can be that. It's just I hate what their leaders are trying to do, right? And I hate what they're trying to do with the religion and how they're killing Christians through intolerance. That I have major fundamental problems with. No, not with coffee. I couldn't think of a day I didn't drink alcohol, liquor. Oh, I drink gin now, but it was a long time. We used to drink hell out of Tanqueray, man. I drank Tanqueray all the time, gin and tonics all the time, gin, and loved it. And then I don't know, man. We just drank a lot, and doing some other things, that help you drink more, and drank a lot for like 2 days, and got so sick, man. I was like ill, and I was burping gin. I was, it's coming through my nose. It's just the worst experience ever, and I laid off the gin for many years. But I never was real big on the junipery flavor, the piney flavor of it. But I've tried some other gins, some of the floral gins, and some of the unique craft gins, like the past few years and stuff. And yeah, I like gin. It's just I had to give it a rest, and the thing about gin is it's not bourbon, and that's my weakness is whiskey. I'm Irish, so it's bourbon and whiskey, man. I love it. Many days you know. There's Miss Tammy. You staying warm over there? I missed you last couple of sessions. I was worried about y'all. Hope y'all doing well. That's right. Don't be a slacker. How much ice did y'all get over, Tammy? Well, probably about what we did. She ain't far from me. She's actually probably about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from me. It was bad. Oh yeah, yeah. It's been going on ever since it started, and you know, I don't. I try not to judge too much, but I think, I think, but I think Christians are more tolerant with other religions than Islam is tolerant with other religions. That's just my views of it. I know they've been fighting with it ever since the Muslim, Islamic started spreading throughout Europe, taking over and enslaving people and killing them, and all in the name of Islam and their pedophile leader. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. So you're not going to soften me up on that. It's just no. You know, there's only one God, one. So yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's I just don't see Islam as a good religion. I've read a lot about it, and if it hadn't been for the Crusades, our world wouldn't be the same. Yeah, we can talk about it sometime. I'm open for discussion on it. I mean, you may be a Muslim or Islamist, and that's fine. Everybody's got their rights to their own religions and stuff, and I know a lot of people. There's the fine people that are Islams and Muslims. I'm not saying all are bad. Hell, one of my best friends in college was. But it's just like there was a lot of great people and fine Japanese people. And then when their leaders said it's time to fight and go against the Americans, then they suited up and they fought Americans just like Muslims are going to fight for theirs. And it's those five people turn into your enemy. And that's just how it works. Doesn't make them bad; it just makes them the enemy. And right now that's kind of the way I see it. Ice shiner. Yeah. Well, that's fine too. You can have your freedoms to be devoid of religion. There's a lot of bad things that's happened in the name of religion, but probably for, like you say, it's probably for a bit another form. I've got my opinions on it, and they're pretty. Nobody's going to change my opinions when it comes to this. I'm pretty hard set when it comes to. As a Christian, I can appreciate all other religions that are true religions, but when it comes to that to that one particular one, I don't see them as tolerant and loving and living under what Jesus would have taught. It's a different. It's just different. Yeah, they don't like booze, man. How good can they be? I hope you get feeling better. Lord, you ain't got nobody to help you. Yeah, it's been pretty cold. Well, tonight's supposed to be the last night of real cold for us, Tammy. So it should start warming up. Next week we're supposed to be above freezing. So I hope you get feeling better. Yeah, I was just talking earlier. I've been sick. I think since around December, all of late December, early January, all of January, pretty much. I wasn't feeling good at all. Most of the nights when I got on here, man, I'd tell you, if you'd asked me 2 hours before the show, I'd be like, "No, I don't think I can do it tonight. I just don't. I don't feel horrible." But by getting on here, chatting with everybody makes me feel better. So I got in, forced myself to get on here and talk, and start chatting, and have a drink or two, and I'd feel them, and it made me feel better. So I appreciate y'all for that. Y'all good medicine. Yep. Yeah, my mom passed away a few years back. My sister last year. So it's been tough, Tammy. Yeah, getting old sucks, doesn't it? Yeah, as long as a theocracy, it's a form of government. Ash Brothers strolling in at 9:50. What's up, bro? Doing good, my friend. How's it going? It's funny last night. Tom was like, Mash Brothers. I think he had you confused with somebody else. Like, man, they've been around for ages. What the hell? They was in, yeah, he was in a lot of Rutledge's group with me. But sit young, we've been around a long time in here. Old Joe, God rest his soul. He's a pretty good feller. Me and him had our differences, but he was a buddy. 62, man. He won't be that for months here. Maybe by April. We turn into Brandy. Oh, hell, we've talked about everything tonight like usual. Yep. Dutch distillation. Well, I mean, what do we talk about in particular? Dutch liquor. Now, what do they do different from the Dutch? I know they probably have some interesting stuff because it's old world stuff and probably a lot of floral stuff. Let's see, 15 Beth Netherlands distilleries. I got some friends from there, but we never really talked about that. So talk to me now. Tell me about this Dutch distilling. Who brought that up? JJ. Tell me about it, brother. What is it, whiskey? Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. Yeah, man. It's you know we can talk about pretty much any other religion, and it doesn't get light a fire under me. But that one in particular, yeah, I just I've got a really strong opinion about that. But any other religion, Shinto, Hinduism, any other, so many other religions out there, I can talk and be interested in learning about them and all that, but not them. And I don't want to offend anybody and get anybody mad at me or anything like that. I believe, everybody has the right to believe, and that's the beauty of our country. But also, sometimes we get taken advantage of because of that as well, and sometimes passivism like that is what causes downfalls in countries to tumble. So sometimes you just have to take a stand and just agree to disagree and move along. But yeah, it's yeah. Sam said, "You fell in December." Well, why didn't you tell us about that? We seen you since then. Why? Well, I'm glad you didn't hurt your hip and break it. Yeah, you gotta be careful. I have this basement, and I worry every time me and Ann go up and down the steps. One day we're gonna slip, fall in them damn steps, and break a hip or something. They get me a little chair lift. Don't I have a little lift going up and down the steps? Ain't that bad. Oh yeah, old Tony Sanford sent me a message. Damn, he must have started him a new Facebook because it's spelled different. That's his picture. He sent me messages not long ago. I ain't talked to him in a minute. He's an old moonshiner. Yeah, I think so too. Seeing how it's almost gone. That 130 proof went pretty quick. It's just blackberry and pineapple. It was a good combo too. I got some apples there. I still ain't run. So what, you got sensitivities to some of the grains? I know I've got a family full of celiacs, and I guess I am too. We're sensitive to, I guess, wheat, is it? I love wheated whiskey, so imagine that. Glutens, that's what it is. Glutens, yeah. So maybe I got bit by a celiac tick or something. Created the autoimmune disorder. That's probably that and irritable bowel syndrome, and chronic colitis. That's every time, why I get sick every time I eat. Yeah, they put turkey in what's that distillate from Mexico? Hell, we was just talking about that the other day. What is that? Damn it! Oh, what's that called? We googling. I can't remember shit. I know they use it in some of the mezcals. Pachuga. That's it. Pachuga. Why can't I remember anything, man? Pachuga. My mind's gone. Yeah. Pachuga. Thank you, Cave Daddy. You still got some brain cells left. I don't. Ah, damn, man. It's getting bad. I'm getting old. Hell, 10 years from now, you all going to be teaching me the same shit I'm teaching you. You're going to have to re educate me. I won't remember it the next damn day. Yeah. Yeah, with deer meat. Hell, I know Justin Meredith, man, he'll do it with taco. He did brisket. Did it with brisket, right? That's good stuff too. And I've just taco shine I've tried. He sent me some taco shine. They am good stuff. Sakis with snakes. Man, I've heard of some. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't think I'm gonna. Yeah, yeah, I've drank the Monte Albon. We've eaten many worms. We used to argue up and down. Who's gonna get the worm? They said, "Oh, it had," but I can't really say. I get banned off Facebook. We can't talk about hallucinogenic properties of a worm. They might think we're talking about drugs and ban us or some shit. Man, you got to be careful. We can't talk about drugs on here or use hate speech. So yeah, that's right. They've got some goats and other shit they throw in the muck in the dunder pits. That's why the guy out there in California tried to do a dunder pit, and the health department shut his ass down. They said nope. Pachuga, yeah. They put turkeys in there, or yeah, turkeys and chicken, all kinds of shit. I think the rats just crawled in there and they said, "Fuck it, see what happens." Just let it go. Don't worry about it, man. It'll be all right, man. Just smoke another. What? No, we can't talk about that, kid. Yeah, we can't talk about that either, JJ. We can't talk about it. Not saying a word. Yeah, they supposedly I don't know. It wasn't me, so I don't know where it came from. But supposedly one of the podcasts had something about drugs on it. I know it wasn't any of the ones we talk about. We don't, I don't talk about drugs on here. But we have kind of briefly mentioned them when we talk about certain, toxins from nuts and trees and leaves and certain things that you shouldn't, use to steep in liquor and stuff and make tinctures of and stuff that are toxic. And, some of those same things are used to synthesize drugs. So I think they may have heard something to do with that, possibly, but doubtful. I mean, surely not, because we were telling people how dangerous it was. It's not like we were giving people the recipe for making meth or some shit. We were telling people it's toxic and not to do it. So I can't imagine them getting it from me. I think it's just somebody talking shit, wanting to get Fibly shut down. Hello, Miss April. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're doing good. Night, staying warm. Got a little nutty and oh man. Oh, copperhead. Yeah, yeah, yep. That's for you get them from a feed store. It works best in like your washes, your sugar washes, your tequilas, your rums, anything that's heavily sugared. You're not necessarily needed like in a grain mash because they finish off so quickly. It's not. But yeah, anything that tends to get low pH and crash on you that has pH crashing. It's yeah, it's good to use crushed oyster shells. Boil them up, clean them up real good, and get all the loose stuff out of it, and put them in a cheesecloth. Get a couple handfuls and throw them in a cheesecloth, tie them up in a little bag, and pitch them in there about the same time you do, your uh, yeast. And it's if you wait till the pH gets too low, it's probably a little too late for that because it tends to buffer more than it will drop your pH rapidly. It just takes care of the acids as they're created and kind of buffers it, as acids, organic acids are created during the fermentation process. It just kind of helps neutralize those. I tell you, my aunt made squirrel gravy, and It's okay. It's oily meat. You know, it's definitely, if you ever eat squirrel, it's unique meat. You know, it's kind of oily and strong, gamey. You know, I imagine much like a rat, but I had some. It's okay. You know, I had high expectations for it. My aunt was she was renowned for it. Oh, Aunt Faye, she's actually a great aunt, and Aunt Faye Sharp. She was that was one of her specialties. Everybody talks about her squirrel gravy. So I went hunting squirrel and brought a few, and she cleaned them up and cooked up. And man, she was so happy, and we sat and had breakfast together, and she was a sweet little tiny woman. You know, she was real small, Irish, and sharp. You know, and she was so happy. And I lied through my teeth, told her how wonderful it was, and I was just choking that shit down. It wasn't bad, but it just, you know, better than liver. I give it that. Oh hell, get one with a scroll. They've got these scroll compressors now, and if you get one with those scroll compressors, man, it's the way to go. You know, and I know what you're talking about. If you know, you know. If not, just tell them. You know, somebody recommended I get one with a scroll, uh, and they're definitely the best. Cost you a little bit more, but they'll last for a long time. Yeah, I just use space heaters anymore, man. This house, uh, it's about a 18, 1900 square foot ranch, but it's got a full basement, and it cost me $500 every month to heat this with electric, man. That it's all electric, and that heat pump, you know, it quits working at about 32 degrees or so. It doesn't work well below that, and that little red light, on your thermostat kicks on, and that just means you're using heating coils in there. So it's just like it's like a space heater with illuminating coils, and it's just blowing air through your system over those coils. Well, I got like almost 10K coils, 7,500 to 10K coils, double coils. They call it emergency heat. And it's those coils, once it gets so cold, heat pumps don't work anymore. So, Tennessee South heat pumps are fine because you really don't have a hard, cold winter, in Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana and all that. Don't usually get that cold negative temperatures, right? You have some winters, and it's usually a week or two, and it's done. But uh, from Tennessee on up north, it's probably best to get a split gas electric system. That way, when instead of those coils kicking in, you got gas kicking in, right? You can use gas for heat. It's much more efficient and better heat, and less expensive. When you. But I don't know if you have both bills, it tends to get pricey because you have to pay for it all year round, whether you use it or not, with the gas bill. But yeah, it's pretty good to have those split systems. They're pretty efficient. But yeah, I just use space heaters. I use these oil filled heaters, and I'll put them in the areas of the house, keep it warm. And it's not cold. It's not on these single digit nights. It's not cozy throughout the house. But I don't spend much time in any of it. We heat the kitchen, we heat the basement, we heat the bedroom, and the bathroom. The one we use, and well, a little bit utility room. But I got two bedrooms. Why I heat them? They ain't being used for nothing. And half the house, ain't being used for nothing. 500. And I said, nope, no more of that. And in the summer, I don't care. I put a air conditioner. I got a window unit in the dining room and one and put one in the bedroom, and I'm funny about that. It's the same way. I just got that. It's that old mentality, that old school mentality. I guess I'm funny about certain things. Muskrat. I'm not eating a muskrat. I'll try it. Yeah, I've never heard about, never thought about it, but I guess you could. You don't have to crush them. I guess you could use the shell, just drill a hole in it, just string them up. It works the same way. You don't have to be crushed. It just gives you more surface area when they're crushed up. But yeah, you could hang some shells in there for sure. Be interesting. Yeah, yeah, those work good. Oh, Army likes him some squirrel meat. It's just gamey, oily. It wasn't bad, but like I said, it's better than liver. That's for damn sure. But it's just, it wasn't. I just soon have a steak or something, as a squirrel if I had my choice, or chicken, or pork chops, or bacon. But it's definitely on the list above liver. Liver's at the very bottom of the list. Yeah, yeah, we got yeah heat pumps down here. It's a little probably is kind of along the line. It's Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, North Carolina, I guess Indiana, Missouri, kind of, in that little belt there where you kind of go either way. But I think if you had a split system, it's definitely the most efficient. But again, having to pay for that gas. It's that global warming. I like it that it's changed from global warming to climate change. Now, climate change I'll agree with because climate's always been dynamic, so the climate's always going to change. So now they're saying climate change and trying to capitalize on that. But in the 70s, man, we were headed for the next ice age, right? Now we're going, all going to die in 10 years. The 10, 20 years ago, they were saying that, oh, we're going to be dead in 10 years, man. It's going to flood. New York will be underwater. There's so much predictions and so much bullshit. Yeah, yeah, it's just electric coils. It's just air blowing right over these electric coils like a heater, and it's a real dry heat too. No, no, heat pumps suck. I mean, if you're in 40 degree, 35, 38 degree weather, heat pumps okay, because it's not those coils don't kick in that low. But when it gets to the certain point where it just can't pull heat out of the, nah, it's inefficient, very inefficient. I just use my own space heaters. Timber chicken. Yeah, I don't know. Squirrel's okay. I mean, it's just not the best meat for me. I'd rather have big juicy steak. I'd rather have fried chicken. Turkey. Not turkey's okay-ish. It's on the probably a little bit above a squirrel, but not long. But bacon and ham and all these things, I'd rather have those. But turkey, I guess, probably be close to squirrel on my meat list. But they're both way above liver. Deer meat, yeah. Bear, even the snake nuggets. Those are it's all good. Gator bites, all good. Man, I tell you what, down at Arkansas Festival, we had some fresh gator bites. Man, they were hot fried. God, man, those things are damn good. Little gator nuggets, those were good, man, damn good. That's a good festival down there, man. I enjoy it. Good people. Remind me a lot of Eastern Kentucky people. I'd say probably, Ozark Mountains, but had a lot of same people settle there. They got a little bit. They got some more, a little bit more different tribes of Indians there. Yeah, chicken of the sea and chicken of the tree. Huh? Mike, after you mentioned that, I saw something and they were talking about people were taking crock pots, the crock pot liner, and turning those upside down and putting a couple candles underneath it or a sterno. And they were talking about, man, those things put out some good heat. No beef or seafood. Oh, Miss Tam, you don't like steak. Chicken, pork, and turkey. No beef or seafood. I know a lot of people don't like seafood. I don't know if it's so much science of JJ as it was people trying to create. As I look back on it, and everybody talking about, Al Gore and a lot of the stuff, and you look at a lot of these NGOs and other stuff that a lot of our tax dollars went into fund, and they see that. And I'm not talking about either side of the aisle. Now this is corruption on both sides. I'm not saying one party or the other, but I think they all create a lot of these little NGOs and a lot of these things for our money to get funneled to. And I think a little bit of that money gets funneled back to the people that make it, politicians that make it and stuff. And I think there's been some corruption in that, involved in that. And I remember back in the '70s, this ice age is coming. It's the ice age is coming. It's going to ice up, freeze over. Next thing you know, oh no, it's climate change. We got warmer. It's getting hotter, and the globe's getting hotter everywhere. And of course it is. We're coming out of an ice age, right? We're in what's called an interglacial period, and so we're coming out of the last ice age. So of course it's going to get warmer and warmer and warmer. But our planet has had much higher levels of CO2, and they kept our CO2 gets another point or two higher. We're all just going to die. We're going to die. And they found that our planet is gone through much higher levels of CO2, and I think we'll still be able to get as much oxygen out of the air as we need. But I think a lot of it is um, just money. I think a lot of it's created just to create panic and create a lot of organizations and uh, now I'm for a lot of the regulations as far as keeping the planet clean and keeping our waters clean and keeping the air as clean as possible. Yeah, I'm definitely definitely in favor of a lot of that. But I think a lot of these things are just blown out of proportion and made to scare us so they can create organizations and all this stuff that they can skim money off of. Because I see so much corruption and so many government on both sides on the take. And the climate's always changing. It's always has changed. And, but if you look at the actual trends and stuff, and, just not long ago, the polar bears are dying. We're losing all the polar bears. We'll never have polar bears in another 7 years. The last polar bear is going to be they're finding out there's as many polar bears now as there ever been. And Arctic ice, it's definitely changing, and the weather, it's definitely changing, and we do have climate change, but there's always been climate change. There always will be. We're pretty, on the planet we live on, there's always going to be these dynamic changes. And like I said, we're coming out of an interglacial, so we're coming out of an ice age still, right? That's why we still have polar caps, because as long as there's still ice, we're still part of the ice age is still going on, right? We're just coming out. We're in an interglacial. That's what they call it. Yeah, I mean, clean energy to some there's always dirt, right? There's always issues with it. So windmills, there's fiberglass blades. What are you going to do with those big, huge blades when it's time to put them away and when they're done with? Well, what do you do when those motors break down and all that oil spills out and creates, a big oil spill right underneath you got to fill all these huge, you know, refuge piles with fiberglass blades. It's not like they're grinding them up and reusing them. They're just, you know, special, dumps for it. All the property required to do solar farms, and look at all the solar farms that are out there now, and grass is growing up around them. By the time they start paying off, they're failing. It's just, um, but yeah, you never know. Like you talk about the pole shift, that the Earth has inverted in time. It has changed. Yeah, with the ozones, that was a real thing. The ozone issue and chlorofluorocarbons and all. Yeah, that was definitely a real thing, and it's healing. We got rid of a lot of the things that were causing it, and that was a real issue. Yep. But that was a real issue. But I think a lot of the other stuff, a lot of it they create is just to skim money and create agencies and all this stuff that really we don't need. Yeah, but I am for keeping the water's clean. I know a lot of ships used to dump barrels over off Europe and off the coast of the United States. They used to go out in the international waters and just kick these barrels of waste off because it's so hard to get rid of, legally other ways. So yeah, they were all just that's what's going to kill us when they start breaking down. Yeah, I think that, and I think also um, hydrogen cells. Converting water, getting separating hydrogen from water. Definitely sounds like a future. But a lot of the carbon fuels that we use, burn and stuff, and like coal, it was really bad in the 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s before we created more clean technologies and started scrubbing it and cleaning it. By the 90s, it was much cleaner. In the 2000s, definitely cleaner. But now they're saying natural gas is the dirty, dirty, bad, and it's not that bad. It's nothing like the oil used to be, and coal was in its day. So I think we're a lot cleaner now than we were in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And the climate, we're definitely a lot cleaner on the planet. But I think a lot of the pollution comes from a lot of other countries, that don't. There's some dirty countries out there, man. India puts out a lot of garbage. Asia puts out a lot of garbage. Africa puts out a lot of garbage, and it's just, we don't. America doesn't produce near the plastic that's floating in the ocean and the big, huge islands of plastic, microplastics and stuff. Yeah, definitely. All right, y'all. Well, I'm gonna get off here. It's about 10:30. We've had a couple hours, 2.5 hours of good conversation. Not getting a lot of questions. We covered everything except alcohol, but that's fine. I don't mind. We can sit and get in here and chat. Didn't have a lot of beginners in here tonight talking and asking. So hopefully we can get more of that and encourage people to get in here. But I don't mind sitting and chatting with y'all about whatever. I just try to stay away from politics and religion, because that's polarizing. But when it comes to that one, I don't talk much about it. Not real fond of it. In politics, I'm pretty set in my ways. I think a lot of people think that they're going to change the world and change people's views, and they want to, change people's thoughts on things. But it's just, sometimes it's best just to let those arguments go and to not dwell on things. Isn't that, Tammy? I hope you get to feeling better, and hope your leg and hip and back and arm are feeling, shoulders feeling better. Be careful out there in that slippery ice. It's got a little bit more snow today. But I think on most topics, a lot of people can't, do like we do and agree and disagree and just go on. They get all bent out of shape and can't really have a discussion on it. But at the same time, I think a lot of people think that they're going to convince people to think the way they do, and I don't. I don't think that that's going to work with most people. They're pretty set in their minds and in their thoughts and ways, it's just waste of time trying to change the way people are and the way the people think. It's I don't know, don't give up, but at the same time, everybody's going to have their thoughts. But it's good talking with everybody. Had a fun night on here. We didn't get a whole lot. What's going on, Tanner? Yes, sir. It is, Tanner. That's what we're here for, brother. That's what we're here for. We love having beginners come in here and ask all the questions that they want, man. We're here. Hey, Tanner, we're here every Tuesday and Saturday at 8 Eastern time. Also, if you want to get on Facebook, you can join DIY Shine and Steel Building, and we can answer all your questions there, or you can join the Moonshine Militia and tell them, "Oh, bad Santa sent you from the Distilling 101," and they can answer your questions there. Hey, brother, that's awesome. That's what we're here for. Tune in at 8. I don't know. I'm not sure where you are. I go by Eastern time, so we'll be back here Tuesday. So mark your calendar, and be here Tuesday at 8 Eastern, and bring your questions. We'd love to help you out and get you started, and you know, we can talk about what kind of steel would be the best to get, what kind of you know what you're interested in making, all that good stuff. Oh, 13-day work week. Oh boy, that's fun. Gotta love those. All right, Tanner. We will see you, I guess, Tuesday. So bring your questions, brother. We'll answer all of them for you. All right, everybody. Good night. Everybody take care. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see you again. And Tanner, and Tuesday, 8 Eastern. And hopefully we will have more liquor topics and less church and religion and politics. I don't want to talk about all that because All right, brother. Good seeing everybody. Peace out. Shine on. We'll see you Tuesday at 8. Till then, stay safe. Stay warm, y'all.